Hi, welcome to AT Math. Today, 2-1, solving addition and subtraction problems. Now, admittedly, this is a fairly easy lesson, but it's a good starter to learn from. If you already have this mastered, fine. Go ahead and just feel free to just flip through and see them real quick and move on. But if this has been kind of difficult for you in the past, let me give a few minutes to give you an illustration of what this all means. Now let's start by talking about a scale here. Now, as you've probably seen in school before, a scale measures different amounts. And what you do is you put something on one end and you put the weight on to see how much it weighs. Now it's the same with the teeter-totter. If you take a look here, these two charming young people are on a teeter-totter. And basically what's happening is one goes down, one goes up. But if the weight is not even on the scale, one side falls and the other rises and it won't move. So in other words, imagine if you have two people who aren't the same weight who are on a teeter-totter. One side just wants to keep going back down because it's not even. So if you had two kids of the same weight in the teeter-totter, you know you just push your legs and it goes up and down. But what would happen if you put a 3-year-old on one end, alright, and all of a sudden you had a 10-foot tall boy jump on the other side. And poof! Up, 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 up. Past the bird, all the way out in space past the UFO. Well, that's just being silly, but you get the idea. Obviously, this poor kid would go flying because the other side was so much heavier than the first side. So the point is that in math, if you add or subtract to one side of an equation, you have to do it to the other. If you have 4 on this side, to be equal, you have to have 4 on this side. So 4 equals 4. Now, if we add 3 to the left side, we simply have to add 3 to the right to find a balance. That's all we're saying. So 4 plus 3 and 4 plus 3. Both make 7, so again it's equal, because if you do it to the left, you do it to the right. Now, do write this down. The addition property of equality is if A equals B, then A plus C equals B plus C. Simply means this. If you have A and B and they're already equal, as long as you add the same amount to both sides, it'll again be balanced, which is the C in this case. And this is also in geometry, the addition property of equality. So get used to it. You'll see it again. It just means whatever you add to one side, you do to the other. And I probably will have this as an extra credit question. Now, all this is important because we use it to get x by itself, which is what Algebra 1 is all about. Algebra 1 is all about finding the variable, finding that missing letter, that missing piece. So x plus 5 equals 12. Well, instead of plus 5, let's do the opposite of plus 5, which is a minus 5. If you minus 5 on one side, you have to go across the equal sign, which is the balance beam, which is like the middle of the teeter-totter. So if I minus 5 to one side, you have to minus 5 to the other. Okay. So I'll minus 5 here, and I'll minus 5 there. Now notice I've skipped reading all this. If you want to go ahead and pause and read it, you certainly can. But for Algebra 1, I figured we can kind of move a little quicker. So minus 5, and this side you get 5 minus 5 is 0, which basically cancels that, like this, leaving just x equals 7. So that's the idea. Now I agree the way I just showed you is a lot of work. You could just say, well, I knew that something plus 5 is 12. I knew that was 7. Yeah, but you want to get into that pattern of doing to one side, doing to the other. It will pay off because the more complex it gets, the more you can rely on these systems. So you try. Go ahead at this time and do the opposite. So it says plus, minus, and so on and so forth. Go ahead and pause and give it a try. Let's see how you did. Minus 12 to both sides here, minus 12 to both sides here, and I get x equals 23. Minus 2, x equals 9. Now, I just swapped a for x. It doesn't make a difference. I'm just going to minus 3, and a equals 19. Just like that. Alright. Now, the same is true if you had this. J minus 5 equals 16. The only difference is, instead of a minus 5, we now have to add 5. So we do the opposite. So add 5 here, add 5 there. When I add 5 here, this goes away, just leaving the j, and 16 plus 5 equals 21. So j equals 21. By the way, if you want to prove that, just take the answer here, take 21, and stick it back in the original problem. Does 21 minus 5 equal 16? Yes, so you know you're right. You try. Go ahead and try these. Go ahead and try these and pause, and then let's see how you do. Okay. Instead of minus 21, plus 21 here, plus 21 here, and I get x equals 26. Here, instead of minus 3 plus 3 to both sides, I get x equals 24. And here I'm going to add 20 to both sides, add 20 here, so I get z equals 20. And I hope you got them all right. Next up, now that is all the stuff you will learn, but sometimes the placement's tricky. For instance, here the x is on the right side, but it doesn't make a difference. We'll just minus 4 from both sides, as you see here, and that goes away, so x equals 11. Now, you can say 11 equals x or x equals 11. I normally flip it to where the x is in front again, the variable's in front. You don't have to at this point, but it'll pay off later. Now, sometimes the answer might stay a negative. Take a look here. X plus 4 equals negative 5, but the opposite of plus 4 is minus 4. Now, don't be tricked here. You are minusing 4, but when you take negative 5 minus 4, consider it as negative 5 minus 4 more, or a 5-foot hole that you're digging 4 foot deeper. And so you're going to have negative 9. And your favorite, fractions and decimals, I know everyone's favorite. Instead of x plus 5.2 equals 20, instead of plus 5.2, we're going to minus 5.2. Minus 5.2 to the left, minus 5.2 to the right, you get x equals 14.8. And here, x minus 3 1/4 equals 8. Instead of minus 3 1/4, add 3 1/4. 8 plus 3 1/4 equals 11 1/4. And the way I would think of that to help you is when you think of 3 1/4, simply think of like $3 and $1/4, which is a quarter. So $8 plus $3.25 makes $11.25. Hope that helps. You try. Go ahead this time, and when you're done with these three, we'll be done. Go ahead and pause and give it a try. Let's see if you got the same answers as me. For the first answer, I have 8 1/3 because I added 2 1/3 to both sides. Here you minus 3.4, so what I'm going to say is probably 6.8. Let me add them up real quick. 9 plus 0.4, 0.8, 10.2. Yep, good. And now I'm going to add 2 to both sides, so I get 14.7. Hope you got them all right. Thanks again. See you tomorrow. Bye.